Hey y'all, and welcome to another seasonal TBR. This time I'm going to be showing you all of the books I want to read this winter. I considered doing something similar to my fall and spooky season or spooky vibes TBR, but I realized I don't have enough holiday books to make a winter and then like Christmas or holidays TBR. As with my other seasonal TBRs or translated TBRs, all of that stuff, these are books that I already own. I'm going to start off with Christmas and then move into books that feel more just winter specific, and then books that really probably only make sense to me to be on this list. First up for Christmas books is Christmas with LM Montgomery. I picked this up at Barnes & Noble. I think it was a freebie last year, and this is the one I selected. This is 3 Christmas tales just written by LM Montgomery. It's very tiny. I'm sure it'll be a very quick read, but I believe I got it either right before or right after Christmas last year, and I just wasn't able to read it at the time. Next up is A Christmas Carol. I am so excited to finally read this. I don't think I've ever read this, maybe as a kid, but I just don't remember. I love this cover. I think it's really pretty. It is raised texture, and there are also pictures inside, which I quite like. The only thing I don't love is that the paper is like, can you hear? It's like that magazine texture, very slippery, very slick. But like I said, it does have a lot of pictures throughout. And I think it's a pretty cover overall. This is, of course, the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, who is an old miserly meanie whose life is really changed on Christmas Eve when he is visited by 3 spirits. And yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows the tale, right? We've all seen A Muppet Christmas Carol, at the very least, right? So I'm so excited. This year is my year. Next up is my first of the Christmas romances in Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. I famously did not like Icebreaker, but this sounds pretty good to me, and it is adult, not college. So I think I can get on with this one. Here we have Clare Davenport. Her family owns a giant toy company. When Jack accuses the Davenports of stealing one of his toy designs, there is a huge PR nightmare. Jack works at a teeny tiny independent toy company. Davenport Toys is huge. So Claire is tasked with trying to calm the situation down. She goes to the small town of, I think it's called Fraser Falls. She meets very grumpy Jack. I love a grumpy MMC, and tries to like fix everything. But I think she's probably gonna find out that maybe her dad's company is not the good guy. And it sounds very Hallmark movie coded. And I don't know, it just looks really cute. Look how cute they are. I also love a redheaded FMC, so I'm feeling really good about this one. Next up is another holiday romance, and this is called The Holiday Honeymoon Switch. Best friends Holly and Ivy are ride or die. And they are so close, they even look alike. So when Holly's fiance jilts her, and I guess runs out on the wedding, she has an idea that they should switch places. Ivy should go on the vacation for her, and Holly will go into the mountains in this Airbnb, I think, that Ivy had rented. So what happens is the host of the Airbnb turns out to be her old academic rival. So we have like an enemies to lovers situation. And then for poor Ivy, Holly's ex-fiance shows up to the honeymoon suite with a new girl. And since I'm sure his name is on the reservation and her name is not, she is kicked out. She meets a friendly bartender. It looks like everybody's gonna get their happy ending in this, and we'll just have like dual parallel kind of timelines and 2 love stories. Another holiday romance is Good Spirits by BK Borison. I'm really looking forward to this one. I can't really put my finger on exactly what's going on here. I know that we have the Ghost of Christmas Past who haunts people every year. Like that's kind of his gig, right? His holiday gig, I guess. And then we have our sweet female main character who doesn't really deserve to be haunted, but somehow they're connected and somehow like bound by their pasts. I don't know. I don't really want to know too much about this because I think there's going to be a good twist. I mean, he's a ghost. So like this has to work out somehow, right? And I'm afraid if I think about it too hard, I'll bum myself out because how are they going to make this work? But it looks so cute. It sounds so good. I haven't even hauled this yet. It has beautiful sprayed edges. I did pre-order this one. I couldn't help myself. A book I've had for a very long time, I'm absolutely determined to make this the year that I read it during the Christmas season, is A Cozy Christmas in Cornwall. This is about Ivy, who is kind of like an event planner. She's basically hired to deck out this crazy manor house, super Instagrammable location for Christmas. But the landowner, the lord, I guess, that owns the manor, is very Scrooge-like, very grouchy, very grumpy, gets in the way a lot, but I think they are probably gonna fall in love. And it just sounds really sweet, really cozy. You know, I cannot resist anything British, and I can't believe it's taken me so many years to read this. I did start it at one point, got out of the Christmas season, and then couldn't find myself picking it back up again. So this year is the year. The final somewhat romance, somewhat fiction is Kiss Me at Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. I read A December to Remember by this author last year, and I loved it. I loved it so much. So I'm really interested in reading more of her work. She has like a lot of Christmas themed stuff. In this one, we have Harriet, who is not feeling Christmas. And when her daughter decides to spend her Christmas in New York and not at home with her mom, she's like, I'm calling it. That's it. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to do anything. She does get a little wine drunk and have an encounter with a man. And then in an attempt to try and do the right thing for some teens, she gets roped into putting on the final Christmas performance at this sort of like defunct theater. And the owner's lawyer turns out to be the guy that she had an encounter with. I don't know, it sounds really good. I think it's going to be sweet. I think it's going to be heartwarming. Her writing style is really spectacular to me, so I don't expect anything but greatness from this one. If you felt like things were a little too sweet and sappy, I am proud to bring you Krampus by Brom. I loved Slewfoot, so I knew I had to have this for the Christmas season. This is, of course, about Krampus, the Yule Lord, enemy to Santa Claus. One night, a struggling singer-songwriter from West Virginia sees Santa Claus being chased down by some demons. The demons, the sleigh, the reindeer, and Santa all go up into the clouds, but what comes back down is his Santa sack. And I think this singer-songwriter guy, Jesse, finds something in the sack, makes him, I don't know, successful, gives him a little bit of magic, maybe something like that. But it also brings him into the clutches of Krampus, the Yule Lord, as we've already discussed. And it seems like maybe Santa Claus is not all we thought he was, and perhaps he stole Krampus's magic many moons ago and imprisoned him. So Krampus is trying to get his good name back and take over the Yule time. I don't know, it's probably going to be wild and crazy, just like Slewfoot, and I am so here for it. First in my solidly winter category is Buried Deep by Naomi Novik. This is an anthology of 13 of her tales, and I think all of them, most of them, take place in her magical worlds. There's dragons, there's a mushroom witch, which sounds perfect, but I'm a little nervous about reading these stories without having read any of her other work. It seems like I can read this without having read anything else by her. That is yet to be seen. Regardless, I look forward to enjoying all of these stories. Next, I don't know if this is technically set in winter or wintry, but it feels like winter would be the right time to read it, and that is A Coat of 1,000 Furs by Brandi Gann. This is a book I picked up at the alpaca farm outside of Chattanooga and is a self-published book. I don't know a ton about it, so I'm just going to read you the little blurb on the back, and hopefully that's enough to tell a little bit about what this story entails. So, A Coat of 1,000 Furs is a fairy tale adaptation of All Kinds of Fur by the Brothers Grimm. Born into the confines of a day kingdom, Helena knows nothing beyond her father's insanity and the oppressive rules of her world. But when she dares to flee, her life takes a dramatic turn as she stumbles upon a realm of magic she has only ever dreamed of. I think it could be a lot of fun, and I love to support independent authors, new authors, people just trying to make their way. Next up is my one and only nonfiction, and that is Madhouse at the End of the Earth. This is the tale of a Belgian aristocrat who in 1897 thinks he is going to be the first explorer to set foot on the magnetic South Pole. What happens, in fact, is that on his ship journey, I believe the ship is called the Belgica, I don't know. He and his crew are stuck in the ice, and they get stuck there for a very long time. They all get quite sick from some sort of weird, I don't know, Arctic illness. A lot of them have scurvy, maybe all of them have scurvy, I don't know. And they all start to go a little bit mad and turn on each other. Eventually they decide to leave the ship and I think try to make their way to some sort of safety on land, but it's not land, it's ice on the ocean. So I don't know, I'm pretty sure I know this story. I think I've heard this story before, but I'm very interested to read the book, and there are pictures. Gosh, there are pictures. They're not my favorite pictures, some of them, but here you can see some of the scientists who are on the ship in their lab. Let me see. Not get a glare on there. The sun is not working with me this afternoon, but it's just a a very bleak and horrifying existence it looks like they had. Here's some men on the ice. Here is a penguin that they captured, which sounds absolutely horrifying. I might not make it out of this book. I'll be fine, I'll be fine. Again, here's some of the men. It is a very harrowing, horrifying, terrifying ordeal to have been in. And I think Jeanette actually may have recommended this to me, but she also recommended, was it The River of Doubt, perhaps? And I absolutely loved that book. So I trust her recommendations, especially on nonfiction. Next up is actually a thriller, A Solitude of Wolverines. And this is about wildlife biologist Alex, who is trying to help endangered species. While studying wolverines in Montana, she's run off the road by some people who seem to be trying to scare her off of her mission. While studying trail cam footage from her research on the wolverines, she notices what looks to be a very injured man in some of her photos just wandering through the wilds. She brings this to the local law enforcement, who dismisses her. It seems like Alex has stumbled upon a far-reaching illegal operation, and as her research draws her closer to them, she becomes their biggest threat. I love the wildlife researcher aspect of this thriller tale, so I'm very much looking forward to this one. The lighting has gotten really strange this afternoon, and my neighbor has started to mow their lawn, so I'm really sorry if you can hear that, but there's not many more books to go, and I would really like to push through if you will bear with me. Next up is the whole of the Vancover Storm series by Stephanie Archer. Book 1 is Behind the Net, and this focuses on a young woman who had a crush on our male main character when they were in high school, and now she's like his live-in assistant. Sounds amazing. Next is The Fake Out. I don't know anything about this one. I refuse to read the backs of them because they are, you know, a follow-up in a series. So same thing with The Wingman. I absolutely love the cover of this one. That purple hair is giving, in my opinion. Hockey romance series. Perfect for winter. I think it's going to be so much fun. Now, you might say, Meg, you had this on your translated books TBR, and I sure did, but I've moved it. This is the Dallergut Dream Department Store, and something about buying things in your dreams feels very wintry. Feels almost a little Christmassy to me, but we're going to leave it here in the it won't make sense to anyone but me category. This book seems to center a new hire at the department store called Penny and all of her interactions with different customers and even people who work there, and the elusive owner of the Dallergut department store. I just think it sounds really whimsical, really sweet, could be a very cozy winter read. Next up in my This Only Makes Sense to Me category is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is book 1 in the, I think it's called the Chronicles of Castellane series. I'm not sure how many books there's going to be, but there are currently 2 out right now. In this volume, we have an orphan who is also the body double to a prince, and a healer from like a very persecuted community who, after an assassination attempt, are sort of thrown together and end up in this criminal underworld trying to get to the bottom of this conspiracy against the royal family. Much more than that, I don't want to know. I'm a little afraid that this is going to be one of those fantasy series that is famously unfinished, that is going to draw me in, and I'm going to be sad that the rest of the books aren't out yet. If this does end up being amazing though, you know I'm going to pick up the Rag Picker King next and just suffer until book 3 comes. It is called The Bone Conjurers, but I cannot find a cover yet, so maybe it'll be out sometime in 2026. That's what scares me about these series, but this just sounded too good to pass up. My final book on this winter TBR is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have never read this. I've never read the Lord of the Rings books, so I'm very much looking forward to starting my J.R.R. Tolkien journey with The Hobbit. This is, of course, the story of Bilbo Baggins. He is very comfortable being a homebody at home in the Shire. One day, Gandalf and a band of dwarves comes to gather him up to go on a journey, to go on a quest, and the quest, unfortunately for Bilbo, is to raid the horde of Smaug the Magnificent, who is a big, scary, giant dragon. And Bilbo is, of course, very hesitant to go on this journey, but go he must. I am so excited to be starting my Lord of the Rings journey this winter with The Hobbit. All right, guys, that was my whole winter TBR. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end, even through all this crazy lighting, but I do really appreciate you being here and watching. I hope you found something interesting today, maybe a book you could add to your list. If there's something I missed or something you think I absolutely have to read this winter season, please put it down below in the comments. I will definitely check it out. Might be 2 to 3 business years before I get to it, but I will add it to the list. Thanks again. See you next time.